Every year around the world, people top off their celebrations with firework shows. They're loud, bright, and beautiful displays of artwork in the sky. But when dealing with high explosives, you're bound to have a few mishaps. Now, these mishaps can be as small as having a few fireworks not light to as big as having the entire show go off at once. Or worse. From a hot air balloon festival in Myanmar to a barge in San Diego, here are 5 fireworks shows that went horribly wrong. Every year in the mountainous Shan region of Myanmar, tens of thousands of people gather for the Balloon Festival. This is an annual festival held in the country to celebrate the end of the rainy season. There are numerous attractions the entire family can have fun with, including rides, games, and music. But the main attraction is always the balloons. Hundreds of hot air balloons, measuring 25 to 30 feet in height and heavily armed with explosives, are launched into the sky to ignite the impressive display of fireworks. Locals spend months weaving together the fireworks onto the cages, which are lifted into the air by the balloons. The goal is for the fireworks to shoot high into the sky, far away from any spectators below. But oddly enough, balloons crashing back down to Earth is pretty common for this festival, and has happened quite a bit in recent years. That's a fact many learned firsthand at the 2015 celebration. As one of the balloons launched into the sky, something quickly went wrong. It soon succumbed to its own weight, crash-landed back on the ground, and burst into flames with all the fireworks still on board. Amazingly enough, no one suffered serious injuries from the misfire. And once everything settled down, another balloon was sent off into the sky. This one was a success, setting off an impressive display of fireworks. Now, many Americans love celebrating the 4th of July by watching their local fireworks show. Every year in San Diego, nearly 500,000 people head out to the local beaches to witness the Big Bay Boom, one of the largest fireworks displays on the entire West Coast. Normally, the show lasts for about 18 minutes. But on July 4th, 2012, the event became all the talk in the rest of the nation when it set off one of the most epic fails to ever transpire on the 4th of July. Modern fireworks shows are set up through code consisting of a primary launch file as well as a secondary backup. The company in charge of the show created a new launch file by merging these two files. On that fateful day in San Diego, an unintentional procedural step took place, resulting in an anomaly. Basically, a technical glitch doubled the primary firing sequence, which directed all of the fireworks to go off at once. Instead of the show lasting 18 minutes, all the fireworks went off in the span of about 30 seconds, leading to what looks more like a war zone than a fun event for the whole family. Fortunately, the people at the beach didn't seem to mind, and if I'm being honest, I don't blame them. They took it in good spirits, and you have to admit, this was definitely a fireworks show like no other. For that year, the Big Bay Boom became the Big Bay Bust. Just 1 year after the mishap in San Diego, California experienced another fireworks show disaster, this time at the Rancho Santa Susana Community Park in Simi Valley. The show had all of the correct permits, and the display was found to have been adequately designed and set up. However, on that day, something went wrong. It was later concluded that a 5-inch fireworks shell failed to function as it was designed. This resulted in the shell exploding in the mortar tube, blowing apart the mortar racks and causing numerous explosions to take place on ground level where spectators were watching the show. Naturally, people fled away from the scene. The show had never had any problems with this particular type of shell malfunctioning in the past, but for whatever reason, something went wrong this year. After the event, a representative from the company responsible for putting on the show stated that the organization would no longer use that type of shell. It would also take steps to increase the minimum distance required between spectators and the launch area. Some injuries were reported, but everyone involved were treated at local hospitals and released shortly thereafter. It was a tragic mistake no one could have foreseen, and luckily, it changed how fireworks shows are done in that area to try to avoid another disaster. Lake Brownwood is a reservoir in Texas, north of San Antonio. Every 4th of July, fireworks shows can be seen from the docks of some people who live on the lake. It's a great way to end a holiday party. This was the case in July of 2020. Professional pyrotechnicians were brought in to set up a show on some barges near an island in the lake. The location was perfect, allowing for people on boats and on land to catch a glimpse of the action. Everything was set up correctly, and the show began without a hitch. Less than a minute into the show, that all changed. One of the shells malfunctioned and exploded in the mortar tube, knocking over other elements of the display. This caused a chain reaction, setting off other shells and cakes nearby. Because of this, multiple shells ended up landing on the island, quickly setting the brush on fire. Thankfully, the island was uninhabited and there were no structures. Also, the pyrotechnicians operating the show were all able to escape before the blaze got too big. Local firemen stationed nearby were quick to act, arriving in boats with pumps and hoses to use the lake water to put out the flames. In the end, both barges were destroyed in the inferno, and most of the island was burned. It was an accident nobody could have foreseen and is the fault of nobody involved. No matter the preparation, accidents happen. It's important to expect the unexpected and have a plan in place in the event that something does go wrong. Every year, the town of Vienna, Virginia holds its annual 4th of July celebration, complete with a family-friendly fireworks display. But in 2007, the show wasn't even appropriate for adults. What happened was one of the mortar racks malfunctioned, causing a chain reaction that sent shells shooting towards the crowd instead of into the sky. You can't quite see it in the video, but spectators are far closer than they should be. You see, the fireworks the professionals were using had an explicit warning stating that spectators had to be no closer than 820 feet from the firework display. However, for the celebration, audience members were allowed to be seated at less than half of that distance. Additionally, Virginia outlawed chain fusing together more than 15 shells that are 3 inches or larger. The rack in question was linked to 3 other mortar racks, with each consisting of 25 shells, resulting in 75 shells total. This is not a completely uncommon practice, but one that technically wasn't permitted for this event in this state. Several people suffered injuries from the event, and several lawsuits were filed. Of course, the rest of the audience was oblivious to those injuries at the time of the show. After the last explosion goes off, you can actually hear the audience applauding what they've just seen. Now, these were just a few fireworks shows that went wrong. Hundreds of them take place every year on the 4th of July in the United States, and the vast majority of them go off without a hitch. Just make sure to be a safe distance away from fireworks whenever you may see them next. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to click the link on screen to check out another one of our videos. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.